Hello traders, 'tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Tuesday, March the 18th, the year's 2025. Let's talk trading. Betting versus gambling with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal's. As always, have your risk management in place. Never lose more than you're willing to lose on any one single trade. Walmal, I can't wait to hear your take on betting versus gambling.
Yeah, I kind of opened the can of worms there a little bit yesterday. That's okay. Essentially, the difference is there's maybe what some people would just say, you just being whatever. But gambling is the idea that you're going to go and take a risk on something, okay? Just for the sake of taking a risk. For instance, you go out and you buy a lottery ticket. Okay? That's gambling. You're just going out and buying a lottery ticket. Now, of course, the states would not agree with me because most of the states would go and say it's illegal to gamble, or a lot of the states anyway would say that. But that's what gambling is. It's just going out there and taking a risk. It's uncertain outcome. You don't know how it's going to turn out in any way, shape, or form. Whereas betting, on the other hand, is still taking a risk on something, but we have one added thing that they can help out, and that is some type of level of skill, something that's predictive. So let me give an example. Actually, there's two different types of examples. Let me do the silly one first. I had a uncle who made a living just basically betting, gambling, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and he made his entire living on that. And I'm not talking about in the stock market or anything. I mean, he did horses, he did all types of things. And he actually explained this to me when I was a kid, when I was probably only maybe 12 years old or so. He said to me, "There's a fly on that door handle over there. Want to bet which way it goes?" And we did. We were only betting like a nickel or something like that, 5 cents. And he won almost every time, and I lost every time almost. And I said to him, "Well, how is it that you're winning all the time, and yet at the same time I'm losing almost every time?" He said, "That's the difference between gambling and betting. I bet, I don't gamble." I said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, I've been sitting here in this chair drinking my pint, which is beer, for those that don't know what a pint is. But I've been sitting here all afternoon drinking my pint and watching that door handle and watching this fly. And what I've noticed is the fly, whenever somebody opens another door in the room, he always goes to the right. And when the door is closed, he always goes to the left. So I know which way that fly is going to go in just about every situation. That's betting. There's something there. There's some skill involved. I've observed. I've paid attention to the environment, and I'm making a prediction based on what I've observed. And will I be right every time? No, but I'll be right more times than I'm wrong. Gambling, on the other hand, is what you did. You came into the room, you bet whether the fly went to the left or to the right, and you didn't spend any time sitting there doing any study trying to figure out if there's any type of pattern or anything else going on. And that's, I think, something that we could go and talk about in terms of the market. How many people just go into the market and just go and they think they're betting, but they're really gambling because they haven't put the time and effort in to really pay attention to how the market moves. So that's my explanation between betting and gambling.
Yeah, you're right. We have had that conversation, but I think it was framed trading versus betting or gambling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was something else.
Yeah,
But
trading. Yeah, it was.
it's,
Yeah, because when you go into the casino, what are you doing? Are you betting or are you gambling?
exactly right. Yeah. You can go into there are people who go into casinos, and that the money is stacked against you. They still make a living doing it. And Why are they doing it? Because they're betting, they're not gambling. They're actually paying attention. You know, they're looking around, they're watching and observing, and they're even smart enough to pay attention so that they don't go and bring, you know, eyes down on him where the house says, you need to leave because you're just taking too much money from us. You know, they're being smart about the whole situation. Again, they're using skill. And that's the most important thing. You use skill. And we have, you know, I firmly believe that, you know, we were given a brain for a reason. The reason is to go and use it and just use skill in all we do. Because here's the reality: you get out of bed in the morning, you know, the reality is you don't know what's going to happen that day. You can get out of bed, you know, have the best day of your life, or you get run over by a truck, you know. But if you're using skill, you don't walk in front of trucks. You observed before that when things walk in front of a truck, they don't do very well, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes we were trading, we walk in front of trucks. You know, it's sort of like, you know, we were talking about the market earlier. I said I was done for the day. Well, what I did was I went and ran this thing up. Why? I ran the thing up and ran it all the way up to about 55, all the way up to 75. Why? I ran it up because I got my signal of the flip-flop box. I crossed over the top of indicator 2, okay, and I just ran it and I added in along the way, you know, and then when I got up to 75, I said, you know what, I'm getting off this bus. Why? Because I've observed in the past, when it gets up to 75, more often than not, they'll either hesitate there and sit there and just bounce back and forth, cross that line. Why? It's some type of psychological line. I don't know why it is, but it is. But then I've observed it. That's called skill. And I'm going to get out here and take my pips, put it in the bank, and be happy. And then what I'm going to do is I'll look for another trade. And I don't know if I'm going to go north or south. I'm going to look for another trade at this point because it's going to drive the market one direction or the other. Well, I'm going to wait for a signal. And again, so what do? I wait for a signal, got a flip-flop box, I got to cross over the indicator 2, got into the trade, and then ran down for about 10 pips. You know, and that's betting. That's not gambling. That's betting because, you know, yes, it was uncertain. I could have lost, but the thing is, through observation in the past, I've learned that more times than not, when it gets to that type of level and I have all these other things in place, I'm going to win more often than I'm going to lose. So I'm sitting here now with a bunch of pips, and my utilization is, or my efficiency rather, you know, is at 89.9%, which means I've won almost 90% of my trades today. You know, if I would have just been purely gambling, then more than likely it would be closer to 50. You know, if everything went right, it would be closer to 50 because you flip a coin. It's going to be on the heads 50% of the time, and it's going to be on tails 50% of the time. And that's what we have to do. We have to go and use our brains and observe, pay attention, learn what the market does, and, you know, take the things that we've learned and implement them. So that's my 2 cents on the difference between gambling and betting.
Yeah, definitely. Trading, some people, since it has the risk factor and the unknown factor, they think it's gambling or betting. But yeah, there's
Right.
yeah. Once you define the terms, you can see there is a difference. And like you said, there's the skill factor.
You know, and that's not saying that you're better than somebody else. Maybe you're a better trader. That doesn't. You're not a better person per se.
Right.
It's just the reality. You're going and doing what you have to do to make money. You know, and that's the reality. I mean, I sit here for several hours every day doing this, and believe me, I'd be a much happier person if I was outside painting a fence. You know, on my fence, not somebody else's fence, but my fence, or outside fixing one of my cars, or outside going and doing something in the yard of some sort. I'd be much happier doing that. But the reality is that doesn't pay the electric bill.
Yeah, you know, it's
So I
interesting you mentioned that because I've been watching some YouTube videos that there's this young guy that goes around and interviews multimillionaires and billionaires. Like he just did an interview with Shaquille O'Neal, the Shaq. He did one with Barbara Cochran off of Shark Tank, and just these other people. This one guy, I don't remember this guy's name, but he was I think he was a football player, um, and he is making a lot of money, has like the Lambo and the Ferrari and the Beamer or whatever. And it's
right,
funny because they tell you, you know, these things that when you really look at them, everything they tell you is like it's simple, it's common sense. There's no magic, there's no mystery, but the difference is they just put in the hours. You know,
right.
they did what other people
Nothing.
aren't willing to do.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, well, think about it even in simple terms. You go to the airport, you're going to take a flight, go on vacation. You want to get on the plane with the guy who, got his pilot license yesterday and has only flown the plane twice, or do you want to get on the plane with the guy with 30 years of experience? I want the guy with 30 years of experience because if something does go wrong, he's the one that's probably going to have a better idea what to do.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just me.
yeah, or it's like yesterday, this was a different channel. This guy interviewed the I think this guy's name was it something? He was the biggest seller on eBay where he made millions of dollars selling things like t-shirts and tennis shoes. And it's this guy
Wow.
it's like they show him he's up at, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's running and he's driving hours to go to a flea market because he knows at this particular flea market he can pick up some different shirts and things for like $5. But he knows what shirts to buy because he can turn around and sell the shirt for 25 or $50 because he had, like, I think it was something like he wanted to be able to make it was either 20 or $25 on each sale. If he couldn't do that, then he wouldn't even buy the product.
Right.
And then,
Yep.
and then yeah,
But he knew his market.
yeah, and
He knew
then
his market.
yeah, he knew what shirts to buy. And like there was this one hat. I mean, he was grinning ear to ear. He goes, "You see this cap?" He goes, "You see this right here? This cap that I just bought for $5, I can sell this cap for somewhere between 500 and $1,000. Look here on eBay. Look at what these things are selling for." It's like, and there was like shirts. People were paying thousands of dollars for these different shirts, and like some T-shirt from some concert from the '70s or '60s, And I'm
Right.
thinking, but the weird thing is, they're talking about how bad the economy is, but there's people out there with what I guess you call it mad money that will spend thousands of dollars for a T-shirt.
It's crazy. Right. And that's the thing. We have to put in the time. You know, it's not a get rich quick scheme. That's for sure. It takes time. There are people. You'll find stories of some guy who got stinking lucky. And within 6 months goes from $500 to $1 million. But the reality is that's not the typical story. The typical story is, well, the real typical story is that when people give up after 6 months and they're flat broke, you know. But, the successful typical story is I put in time for, not just months, but years to go and really understand what's going on. But then those are the guys who last a long time
Yeah, and
because they understand what they're playing with.
yeah, and guess what? Fellow traders, the fastest 15 minutes in trading's just about over. So go stand in front of the mirror and be honest. Are you trading or are you gambling? Or are you betting? What is it that you're doing? Because remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.